And I'll let Aris give a quick introduction to kick off this webinar.
So, hello, everybody. It's really nice being here today with Alexis and talk you through my journey, our company's and Revolut's journey so far with PayFit. I've been with Revolut for the last almost 2 years, and you might see my title being Financial Planning Manager. Well, then, yes, this is what I currently do, but for the last 1.5 year, I've been managing the whole payroll function. So, yes, that's what I'm here to talk about now.
And I'm Alexis, everyone. I'm a product specialist here at PayFit, so helping companies like Revolut and others better understand the product, what we're trying to achieve here in the payroll space. And so I've been working quite closely with Aris recently. Very briefly, we're now kicking off the month of February, so we're getting really close also to the new tax year in the UK, starting April the 5th. And so here are a few stats that we wanted to share because we strongly believe that payroll can be managed in a far better way across the UK, but also many other European countries that we're in. I think for me, one number that feels quite astonishing is the 1 in 5 British employees quit over poor payroll experience and quit their jobs. So there's a real opportunity here to really change a space that has not really been innovative for the last 15 to 20 years. And I think the story that we've had with Revolut so far really highlights what we're trying to achieve here in the UK moving forward. Very briefly, PayFit is an integrated payroll and HR software. So we started everything 3.5 years ago, purely as a payroll software, where our goal was to automate as much as possible of all the manual steps that companies tend to go through, or people within HR, finance, operations functions, and quickly also identified a gap within the SME space to provide them with everything related to HR management. So we've combined and we've fully integrated the payroll and HR aspects to really help companies spend less time on payroll, make payroll quite enjoyable and fun, and most importantly, as reliable as possible too. But that's enough on my side. I will let Aris walk you through his next slides now.
Okay, thank you, Alexis. So, a quick background for all of those of you who may have not heard of Revolut, or even for those that have heard of Revolut but don't know exactly what we do. We are a digital bank, a fast-growing one, based in the UK but expanding and operating globally, where we pretty much offer our users the chance to open a proper current account, quite straightforward, in a couple of minutes, where they can spend abroad in the real exchange rate, hold multiple currency accounts, get instant notifications, and generally we're trying to make the whole experience way more friendly, quicker, and at the best and the cheapest possible way. As you can see, we've not been around for a long time, even less than 5 years. We established in July 2015, and we are growing massively. So we have even reached 11 million customers. We also offer our products to businesses. We operate in multiple countries, and we also have offices in multiple countries. Currently, we stand at 2,000 employees globally. This means that for the last years, and especially for the last year, we've been experiencing a tremendous growth. But this growth didn't come overnight. I remember myself a year ago where we were anticipating all this growth, and me, from the payroll perspective, I had to sort of plan accordingly. Looking back then, almost a year ago, everything stuff with payroll wasn't that easy. I was using a payroll solution that was quite limited, and it couldn't serve our needs. It was mainly addressed to really, really small businesses, and it couldn't enable us to scale in any way. Primarily, I was facing 3 main challenges, and I had to deal with those back then. mainly I had so many manual processes on a monthly basis with so many new starters joining, even additional payments or recurring deductions I had to make. I had to face a lot of manual processes which were really time consuming and increased the possibility of an error. On top of that, I felt that whenever I had to process payroll or during the month, me and my team, like back then, it was only one colleague in the payroll team based in London. We felt quite sort of alone. We didn't have the actual support we were expecting from our payroll provider. They were not engaging with us. And whenever we had something more tricky coming along the way, especially with the tax codes and issues like that, we didn't have the delays, and the support we were getting was very limited. So that was something I had to seriously fix if we were to scale. And on top of that, as I said before, all the growth we were expecting and we were anticipating, I had to have a tool in my hands that I could use and enable me to scale along with the business. Otherwise, we would be facing many issues and like with errors and omissions, as we can see, and it makes sense. And also, and the last thing I wanted to happen was like create employee dissatisfaction because of errors in the employees' payslips. And at the end of the day, we wanted to do something that we enjoyed, and we wanted to keep enjoying it, and not just be constantly in a stress mode, and not having anything, and don't know how to deal with it. So that's when, a friend within the business recommended and had heard of PayFit as a growing payroll provider. Very flexible in the area. So that's when I reached out to PayFit, and it's when I started talking to Alexis. They first presented the product, and then we had like some discussions about the issues I just mentioned that we had to overcome. And pretty much he was quite confident that all of these would be addressed. I faced this with, to be honest, okay, words were fine, but I had to be properly convinced, and what he was offering was actually true. As you can see on the slides, back then, when discussions were happening, even before June, we were less than 250 employees. And the growth at which we were growing were like around 20 new starters, only for UK I'm talking about, the UK payroll. Speeding up to today, in January, we have almost tripled the amount of employees. And on average, we're adding 16 employees. But all of this wouldn't have been possible if I didn't have like a true payroll provider on my side, on the team side, on Revolut side, to support with all this. But I think enough said, and on words, let me show you what we're actually talking about, and I'll try to mention what I really enjoyed, and I still enjoy actually, while processing payroll and using PayFit platform. Nice. So starting with the main page, this is the main ad page that the administrator or the payroll manager will be looking at. Very neat, very organized. I really like it, honestly. On the top, you can see the company is summarized of how many employees your company would be having at that moment, depending on the day you would set as a payroll, the pay day, you'll still see how many days you have to process the payroll. Also, on the left, on the right, you'll get some validations that if you're using also the HR feature of PayFit. On the top, required actions, there you would see in case before the payroll is locked and finalized, if there's some actions that definitely have to be taken care of, and somebody's not an expert, for instance, they can easily see those popping up on top, and only when these are resolved, you can actually finalize and proceed with finalizing your payroll. I will quickly jump to the employees view. which means here we can see every single employee and a summary of the actual payment, the monthly payment. What I really enjoyed was the fact that if I was about to do any sort of changes, so allow me to open the payslip of, for instance, I'll just pick Jack Benjamin, the CTO. Let's wait a couple of seconds till this opens. It'll be here soon. Perfect. So we can see the payslip as it appears for the month of February, for instance, for Jack. So if you notice here on the left side where you see all the payments and then the additions, you would see a February bonus of, for instance, 600. If I am to amend this, I can instantly see the effect on the payslip. So if I quickly go back in the additional payments, I would pick Jack. Here you can see Jack and at 600, the current bonus in the system. If I can just add and use the pencil by editing, and I want, for instance, to reduce the bonus to 300, I'm saving. We can see it's been processed quickly and nicely. So going back, Jack's profile again, it's been processed. If I open the payslip again, so initial bonus was 600. I reduced it down to here.
You're on Raymond.
Yes, because I'm on Raymond, correctly. I need to be on Jack, sorry. Yeah, a couple of seconds. So nice, we can see the adjustment, straightforward, real-time amendments on the payslip. Many other features, quite flexible. Whenever we needed something, an amendment on the payslip, the PayFit team was there to help us with anything we wanted. So going back to my company view, pay elements, I just showed you what would happen for a bonus, for instance. How can I easily amend? Deductions. I like this. We had a particular case that we experienced. So midway the year, it was around October, if I'm not mistaken, we were told, I was told actually from top management, the management team, that we had to sort of process the stock option deductions for the stock options that we would give out to our employees after the performance period. I had to process them through Payroll so they can actually get the deductions there reflected on the pay slips. This was a feature that PayFit didn't have at that time, for instance. But after talking to them, we sat down, we organized, we told them what exactly we needed. We set a timetable on their deliverables, and they came back after a month. So we processed, we did a test. Allow me to open this for you so you can actually see. So that's the company's share option feature, where you can have all the employees, you can just see all of them, and the deductions. So this was like a feature that wasn't there, and we had that need, and PayFit team was there, they heard us, they thought it was possible, and after 2 months, as we had agreed, they provided it. So we were able to provide this to our employees and have any stock option deductions being added to their payslip. Allow me to move on to another interesting feature. So regarding the benefits, I'm assuming and I expect that all of you would be giving out some type of benefits to your employees, this being medical insurance for dependents or your employees themselves, company cars, all of that stuff. So as you might know or not, at the year end, every company should be submitting the P11Ds for their employees. This was something that we were doing manually before. And after engaging with PayFit, they told us that's something they could do for us. So during the year, we would just need to upload all the benefits we were providing to each specific employee. And then at the year end, they would do the P11D, as you can see here. They could issue the P11Ds and submit them in HMRC directly for us. So this was a big headache honestly, for us, the payroll team and the tax team back then. But with PayFit, we managed to get it out of our backs and have a professional and the expertise to deal with it. If I quickly move on, pensions, you might have pensions with different providers. Here are some already preset: Nest, Ascot, different characteristics, different contributions. All this can be easily, you just need to upload it in the system, and then PayFit will take care of the rest. They will make the contributions to your pension providers. That's also something quite significant, depending on the number of employees you might have. It helped us a lot, actually, because as I told you before, with 20, 30, and 40 new starters every month joining our pension schemes, we had to sort of streamline that, and PayFit helped us with that as well. So once you've done all of your additions, all of the deductions, everything that has to be processed for the monthly payroll, you get to a point where you need to actually review the payroll and make sure that what you've produced is accurate, nothing has been missed. So I remember myself, like a couple of months ago, we had this issue, and because of the number of employees were increasing, we wanted to avoid the manual task of reviewing employee salaries and the net payments. So again, that was when we sat down with PayFit, and we decided, we agreed actually, that it would be good if we could see the previous month's payments compared to, allow me to show you, for instance, the net payments. You can just easily pick up here what you want to see. So previous months compared to current months, and I imagine you wouldn't want to sort of do the exercise for everybody, but just, let's say you want to even filter for an amount above 200. So, oh no, let's make it more straightforward, about 1,000. Just so only one employee had a difference of more than 1,000 between the 2 months. You can just change the threshold, that's fine, but it's quite straightforward. You can just download it in Excel and have more visibility and work on it. Quite straightforward and easy. I'll just move on quite quickly. Documents, nice and organized way of keeping all of the documents in one place. If you just want to access per month, all the pay slips, the P60s, quick access. You can just, yes, you can see some examples here of some documentation. A feature I really liked, you could easily put a payslip message. If you have, for instance, the new starters, you can welcome them in the company, or lever, and it's going to be the last payslip. You can just a personalized message on the payslip. Also, moving to another section, I really like this one because it's a really straightforward way that shows all of the payments that we had to do to third parties, organized all in one page, what had to be done, what, for instance, for February, the total amount of payments to employees, the tax that has to be paid to HMRC, to the various pension providers, easy, straightforward, organized, and makes your life way more easy. Also, some of you might think of what happens next. So I remember the accounting team constantly asking for the journal entries after every month end. So here you can even easily have the journal entries produced for you. Just download them in CSV, just pass them on to the accounting team and do their work after that. Straightforward. Selecting the month, everything. Reports and drafts, you just, any kind of information you might need, it's here for you. That's pretty much it. The rest is like setting up. Sorry, if just quickly, I think I missed the payroll setup. Yeah, another important feature, and I will summarize after this. Once the payroll is done, PayFit is in a position to, depending on the bank you'll be using and you're processing the payments to your employees, you can ask for them to create the payments file exactly to your needs. So you can just use this and then proceed with the payment. And also, once payroll is locked and finalized, and you can select the feature where payslips will be sent to the payroll portal, and your employees will have access to that, avoiding any GDPR issues of having to send payslips directly to them. So they just use the logins, they access the portal. And allow me to show you how this would look like from the employee's view. So if I change the account from the admin, going back to how your employees would look like, the screen that they would see. Just here the payslips. Here are some other HR features, but the payslips per month, nicely saved, access to everything, organized in a nice manner. So you avoid the communication of like having to send this out to them on a monthly basis. Everything is done automatically by the team. I guess this is it, like a quick run of the demo of how the product itself looks. But what I really believe it's quite important, and it has helped us a lot, apart from the product itself, which is really easy to use, it was all of the support and the care in a way that we had from PayFit team. We felt that there was a partner on the side. Whenever we had a need, we would just communicate this to them. Most of the times they were in a position to just work it out quite quickly and deliver for us. They're constantly evolving, constantly developing the product and their services. So it's only promising. I'm only looking forward to see what else will come up and enriching their product. I'll return to the main presentation.
I'll just wrap it up in a couple of slides on our side. I think based on what you've seen today and what Iris also explained, I think it's really important to understand that we're on a mission here to completely disrupt the payroll space that has, like I was saying, been probably the same for the last 30 years. So on one side, companies were completely outsourcing payroll because they didn't have the knowledge for it, they didn't have the time, and they wanted to save money. However, as you can see on your screen, it comes with a lot of different challenges. Here is a little summary, but I can assure you that we hear a lot of these on a daily basis. On the other hand, a lot of companies were kind of managing payroll in-house. Iris was doing that before with softwares, but that are fairly limited, that can be fairly clunky, and that actually require a certain knowledge of payroll, which a lot of people don't have most of the time or don't need to. But at the end of the day, you still need to process payroll. So I think what we're trying to do here and what we want to do is to build a hybrid solution, and that will take the best of the two worlds and the best of the outsourcing payroll by providing you great expertise, great support, and the best of the in-house payroll, which should normally be, I don't really need, I can have kind of live updates of my calculations, I can manage my payroll, and I have a certain level of transparency and visibility. So here's a little summary of what we provide companies like Revolut, but also many others, and we're definitely hoping to make your life as easy as possible. And I think that's the best and most rewarding aspect. And when we talk to customers and towards the end of the first or second payroll, they come to us and say, actually, it's been quite enjoyable. I've really understood what was going on. That definitely is the best aspect of what we're trying to do here and our mission to revolutionize payroll. And as a last slide for us in figures, I think we were created the same year as Revolut, and we're now a little bit over 400 employees across 4 countries because we're trying to revolutionize payroll in the UK, but we're also doing it in France, in Germany, in Spain, and soon Italy, and we're definitely not planning to stop here and hope we can experience high growth in the coming years too and make your life easier. So we're just on time. I don't know if we'll still have people, but I think this is also the opportunity for a few questions. I don't know if there are particular questions for Aris directly himself or for me, but now is the time. If you have any, you can put them directly onto Zoom, or you can just ask your questions directly onto the webinar. We'll spend the time that we need to answer those for you. Do you cover Irish payroll?
That's for you.
So not at the moment. This is probably going to be something we look into in the next 12 to 18 months. but we first want to really cover the UK payroll before we potentially look into the Irish one. Any other questions? Is it possible to do a full CSV import of payroll? Do you mean in terms of all the final payroll data to be processed, Bertie, or are we looking more into the HR data that will impact payroll? I mean, you can. I think the main difference here with PayFit today is that, and I can let Aris also touch base on for example, how we've onboarded Revolut, but the goal is that we onboard you. Everything is kind of constantly set up onto the software so that you do not have to enter each person one by one moving forward, and it's kind of constantly into the database. But maybe
yeah, exactly. I mean, as I remember ourselves back then, we had a big lot of new starters, like even from implementation, the whole onboarding, we would just align on the template what PayFit needed from us. We would just fill out all the information in one nice Excel spreadsheet, and we'll just give it out to them to upload on the back end, and then we could just see all of the changes in the app. Maybe, I mean, yes, that was a huge thing, and even on our monthly payrolls that we were carrying out, growing with the 50, 60, and 70 new starters a month, we had this option as well to sort of just provide them with all the information, then doing them on the back end for us, so we could then see all the changes being done, like within a couple of days in the app, in the system. So yes, instead of you doing it person by person, it's one by one. Yes, they can do an import, in bulk import. A really helpful feature, actually. 100%. I remember that. Allow me to ask. So the question is, if PayFit can tag employees with specific information, like location, department, and yes, that's more on the optional side. But apart from the basic information that you would add for each employee, but yes, they give you the option to do that, and that was actually very helpful in our case because we were in a transition with our HR platform at that time. I remember, like 5 months ago, and there was no single platform to provide a sense of and a structure of where every employee would fall, under which team, which department, in which location. Having done that with PayFit in the app, we were just able to export easily per location, per team, per department. You could just produce any sort of reports after that. It was quite straightforward. But yes, to your question, yes, they can do that. Tag employees with specific information.
There was a question: are payments executed via PayFit? So to Mike, there are two options in PayFit to process payments. As Aris mentioned, the first one is the ability for us to automatically generate a payment file, whether it's a proper BACS or whatever other format your bank needs on a monthly basis. The second aspect that we now offer customers is the ability for you to use our fast payment integration, which means that a fast payment provider that we work with will now process your payments in less than 10 minutes and split that to all of your employees directly from the app. So two options, and ultimately the payments are not directly processed via us, and we are not a payment platform, but we do facilitate and remove any manual aspects to this. If that answers your question, sorry. Last chance for any final questions?
Anything. I'm here to just, I guess most of you are in a situation where I was, again, a year ago, where even though I was using and had a platform, excuse me, and I was using, but you never know, you don't know what you don't know. So it was I thought it was a risky move back then, but in less than a year, like after a couple of months, actually, to be honest, I was sure that my decision of engaging with PayFit enable us to scale, to do stuff that could be done automatically, avoid, again, the manual work. And also, on top of that, I would say it again, because it is really important for me to feel confident that I was running and I was completing my job correctly. I had a payroll provider, a partner. Whenever we needed the support, they were there for us to help us with anything.
Actually,
That's the main point. We have another question.
Good question for you.
How much of the support do you offer during the implementation phase? Again, nice question, very good question, actually, because it's quite important at the beginning. So, and even though that's based on the implementation, I didn't emphasize the fact that after our first calls, the first discussion we had, it was around, I think, so within 2 months, we were ready to go from the calls till the actual to the platform going live. We were 2 months, if I'm not mistaken. We quickly. It always depends on your resources from your team's side, how quickly you'll be providing all the information that PayFit requires to set up your account and all of the employees first. So you need to devote some time and resources on that. But once it's off your hands and all the information is been handed to the team, they can very quickly do all the back work for you. So in our case, back then, as I told you, we were like around 200 employees that had to be onboarded on the system, plus 20 new starters. All of that was done within a month, actually, because the first month was a parallel month we ran to make sure the results that PayFit would provide were similar with what I was doing with my existing platform. So yes, after the parallel run, we were ready to go and happy to process since like June 2019. So yes, back to your question, the support was there. They were there to help us. I never felt, again, alone, if I'm allowed to say that, during the process. It was straightforward and easy and quick. And yeah, I'll just do it again if I had to.
Thanks, Iris. There's another question from Adam. How is PayFit priced? So at a high level, we won't go into the specifics today, but we work on a monthly subscription model as any kind of SaaS software. You will have a flat fee that sits at the company level, and that typically includes all the submissions, the support, the implementation from our side, and the constant kind of monitoring and new features of the platform. And then we have several plans depending on your specific needs, where you have a price per payslip. So it's a flat fee at the company level plus a price per payslip per month, and that's kind of on a recurring monthly basis. That's pretty much it. So very transparent and quite clear. I'll be happy to share more details with you, Adam, afterwards. Thanks, Bertie, for your question. Super useful. Good. But I'll take a little couple of minutes to say, first of all, big thanks to Iris. I know you're fairly busy outside of payroll on a weekly, daily basis. So taking the time to kind of help us with this webinar is highly appreciated for myself and the rest of the team. And like we said, it's been a hell of a ride together for the last 9 months, and we definitely look forward to continuing this ride together. And of course, on my side, a big thank you for all of you joining this webinar. This has been recorded, and you will probably be hearing back from myself at PayFit in the next couple of days in case you have any particular feedback to share. We're trying to constantly improve these. So thank you for attending, and we'll be in touch shortly.
Thank you very much, Alex, for this demos discussion. Really happy to be here. I wouldn't be here if all this wasn't actually real, and I can empathize with anybody being in a situation where they are either hesitating or like don't know what the next step would be, being in that situation in the past, and also like having all this scalability like I had to face. But yeah, really, thank you again for taking the time as
Thanks.
well with me.
Awesome. Well, that will be a wrap. Thank you, everyone, and have a fantastic end of the day and end of the week.